Are you over 40 years old trying to lose weight for the first time, for the 10th time? I'm here to tell you today that it is possible. We're not too old. It's never too late. And there is hope. And why am I so optimistic about that? Because I'm doing it right now. I've tried many times in the past and never had success, had some short term success, never any long term success. My name is Mike, and I am 55 years old. Just became a grandpa about 10 weeks ago. So, very exciting stuff. And I'm out here today at this beautiful lake that I like to go to. Um, I don't know, big pond, small lake, however you want to look at it. But anyway, after I tell you all this cool stuff, I'm going to do some fishing out here, which will be a lot of fun. I've got some notes here, just some bullet points that I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss anything when I was talking to you. So I've been overweight most of my life. I have lost some weight over the years. Um, not near what I needed to get to healthy weight, and also never kept it off. So, and actually about 6 years ago or so, I was at my highest ever at 320 pounds. Currently, I am down to 246.8. So, yeah, I've had some really good success, especially in the last 13 weeks. I'm down 33 pounds. So, really concentrating on it right now and having a lot of success. And the reason I am successful right now, I feel like, and I think it would work for you as well, is I think some important things to think about when you're trying to lose weight. First of all, you have to accept yourself for what you are now, right? Like, I mean, we can't wait until we lose weight to be happy. We can't, it's you have to be happy right now and accept yourself right now where you're at. And I think that's hugely important. Our weight has nothing to do with, how smart we are, how good of a person we are, anything like that, right? It's just weight. But losing weight and getting healthy has immeasurable benefits. I mean, the way it makes you feel, you're going to look healthier. Your labs are going to be better, your lab work, generally your blood pressure, your glucose levels, cholesterol, all that kind of stuff is going to get better as we get to a healthier weight. So some things that, really have helped me this time was, I think you have to have a why, right? You hear that a lot with different things, but you have to have a reason, a why. And no matter what that is, that's all individual. No matter what that is for you, then it keeps you on track when things aren't going great, because they won't go great all the time. Nothing in life does. I don't know why. If it wasn't perfect, I'd give up. If I didn't lose the amount of weight I thought that I should have lost in a given amount of time, I would just kind of give up, which makes no sense. I mean, as long as I'm dropping weight and getting healthier, who cares how long it takes, right? I'm not sitting there every day when I was putting on the weight, weighing myself every week and going, man, I'm happy this week, so I didn't put on as much as I thought I would, right? So, you have to just be, have a goal in mind and make the goals attainable and make them realistic. The goal shouldn't be, I'm going to lose 100 pounds, which at 320, I definitely had over 100 pounds I needed to lose. But I can't think of it like that, right? I mean, you can't think of it in that big goal term. You need to think of it in smaller goals. So, I want to lose 5 pounds in 2 weeks, whatever it is. And for me, what's really helped is I'm not concentrating on like the scale number and the total outcome. I'm concentrating on doing the things that I need to do to be successful. And then that will show up on the scale. So my why, I've had some health issues the last couple of years. And, as you get older, it happens. And when I was younger, I could get by with being way overweight. Not anymore. So I needed to get healthy. I wanted to get healthy. And then, my family's hugely important. My oldest daughter got married last year. I want to be around for all of those things for as long as I can. And obviously my new granddaughter as well. So she's awesome. And yeah, my wife and I love her to death, and we're having a blast with her so far in 10 weeks. So I can't imagine what the future is going to hold. So I want to be around for all that stuff. Not only do I want to be around for it, I want to be as healthy as I can be so I can do things, physical things. Um, so with all that being said, my kind of why is I wanted to get healthier. I want to improve my labs, my blood work. I want to be able to physically move better. I want to be able to spend time with my family as long as I can. And I want to have a good quality of life, in that process. So that's kind of my why. And when things get tough and, you're not progressing like you think you should, um, which are kind of made up reasons in your own mind, then that's things to look back on. It gives you a strong foundation. So, whether it's you want to lose 20 pounds because you want to look better in an outfit, whatever, if that's strong enough to keep you going, that's fine. But for me, I needed something deeper, deeper meaning to go to. Um, Another thing is I'd say start slow and don't overwhelm yourself. I try to make everything perfect right off the start. Things didn't go well, and then I would die out. So start slow and build on success. I am on a GLP-1 medication, Manjaro, prescribed to me by my doctor for I think it was my sleep apnea. Could have been because of my type 2 diabetes. I'm not sure the official thing that you put on there, but yeah, I'm a mess. But I'm working to not be a mess anymore. And I'm telling you, you don't need to be on a GLP-1. You don't need to. Some people do weight loss surgery. You don't necessarily need to do that. Just do what's right for you. Consult with your doctor, come up with a plan. But these things we're talking about today, they apply no matter what you're doing. So, just again, do what's best for you. Don't compare yourself to others. The main thing is, you need to believe that it's possible. You need to know that it's not too late, no matter how old you are. And you definitely need to know that it's worth it. Absolutely worth it. So far, I'm so pumped up at the amount of weight I've lost so far. And I know my health numbers, my blood markers are getting better. And I'm excited to go back to the doctor and get those checked again, which will be shortly. So yeah, I'm just excited, and I wish that you could feel the excitement that I feel right now. I hope that you have the belief in yourself that I do in you. That's how strongly I believe that it is possible. So losing weight is about 80% of what we eat, our diet, and about 20% exercise. So um, we can't not adjust our diet if we're overweight and think that we're going to exercise our way into weight loss. It's not going to happen. We need to adjust the diet as well as exercise is extremely important. Exercise is important to burn some calories, but it's also important to build some muscle, keep some muscle first, build some muscle, and work on flexibility and all those types of things, especially as we get older. I know I'm a lot less flexible now than I used to be. So I want to be flexible as well. And just kind of functional strength is good. So how do we figure out how many calories we should be eating to lose weight? So what I would suggest, and this is what I've done, is go online and Google like just something very basic, like how many calories should I be consuming in a day? It'll pop up with like a calorie requirement, like a little calculator, and you can go in there and input your current weight, whether you're male or female, your height, and also your activity level. And on the activity level, and I would kind of suggest to start off with, I think the choice is like sedentary. And then there's, moderate exercise, extreme or strenuous exercise or something like that. I'd put the sedentary part. Our body requires a certain amount of calories just at rest. I mean, if we laid in bed all day, we're burning calories, just, all those systems in our body. It takes calories to run that. So I just put in the sedentary, and then when I exercise, that's kind of a bonus because I'm burning some more calories. But anyway, when you figure out whatever you need to just survive at your current weight, then you can reduce that by X amount. So example, you need to burn about 3,500 calories to lose a pound. So if you reduce, your calories by 3,500 over what you need in a week, you're going to lose a pound that week. And then obviously you add in some exercise, you're going to burn some more calories and you're going to lose some more weight probably. Now it's not all perfect, right? I mean, the body is amazing and it can do a lot of different things. And sometimes it responds better one week than other week. So you could do the same thing one week and then the very next week, not, have as much success. The important part is figure out your baseline, where you need to start, what, reduce that and find out, what calorie intake you're going to have. That way, it gives you a good starting point. So you need to figure out how to read food labels is really important. And I never really even looked at food labels. I didn't even know they were actually on the stuff. So it'll tell you, the calories, the fat count, the carbohydrates, sugars, all this kind of stuff, right? And the important part is like it might say a particular food might say 190 calories, but you have to look at the serving size. So it might say 190 calories, but there's 2 servings. So if you eat the whole can, you're going to be getting in, what is that, 380 calories if my math is right. I mean, my math never was great. And, like I said, I'm 55 and I'm a grandpa now. So, memory's not what it was. But anyway, I think that's about right. So anyway, some things will have like, 4 or 5 servings in them. So you look at a can of something, you're like, man, I could eat this whole can for X amount of calories, but that's per serving. Now, some things will say, serving size 1 can, but really it's hugely important. And you have to multiply everything, the calories, the fat count, the sugar, all that kind of stuff, the total carbohydrates, all that kind of stuff. You have to multiply by how many servings are in there. So that's hugely important so that you're consuming what you think you're consuming. But that's how you get to how many calories you need. And then that's how you read food labels to figure out what you're eating, calorie wise. Another thing that's really important is, so once you figure all that out, is to track those calories. It can be as simple as writing them on a piece of paper. And it's really a good idea to write down the food and the calories. If you're keeping track of other things, depending on your health situation, if you're diabetic, the carbohydrates are really important. Sugar's really important if you're trying to limit those. So not one size fits all with the diet and what you're eating. But in terms of losing weight, the calorie count is kind of the same across the board, and it's hugely important. So I would keep track of it. Like I said, you can write it down on a piece of paper, it's fine. Add it up at the end of the day. Make sure you're staying within your calories for the day. I have a food tracker on my phone, and there's a ton of them out there, and quite a few of them are free. I use MyFitnessPal, and I paid for it, but I paid for the whole year, and it's fairly inexpensive per month. By paying for the year, you get a little discount over paying monthly. But I love MyFitnessPal for a few reasons. One is just simple. I could enter things, and they have a free version, but the paid version's awesome because it has a barcode scanner on it. So on your phone, you just scan that barcode and it pops up with all the, nutritional information. And then, you can select the servings, that you've had out of that. And you can also put in, like whether it was breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, and all that. And then, it'll keep track of it that way. And usually you go in there and you set it up and you put in your current weight and all that kind of stuff. And then you can, it'll tell you like your calorie goals for the day based on your input. And so you can see that, you can see like I'm using this as an example. It's not even my example, but if you need 2,000 calories a day, and you eat 100 for breakfast, it'll show you 1,900 left. So it's super, super cool, super, super simple to use. And to me, it's worth it. You don't have to do that, but to me, it's worth it. And there's other options out there. So, but I would just find something that works for you and go from there. And then as far as exercise, I would start off super slow. I'm telling you, this last 13 weeks, I've lost 33 pounds and I've hardly exercised at all. I go walk with my wife and we just kind of casually walk. We're not, even, breaking a sweat half the time. It's been kind of cold, but we're not breaking a sweat. So, because the intensity's not up yet because we don't want to hurt ourselves. We don't want to, discourage ourselves so that we're not wanting to walk the next day or the day after or whatever. So we're just kind of casually walking, enjoying, being outside because we both do. And, it doesn't cost anything, a decent pair of tennis shoes. That's it. Um, so don't buy a ton of equipment at the start. I mean, simplify it as much as you can. And it just makes it that much easier on you. You don't have a bunch of equipment, you don't have to buy a bunch of weights and, keep them in the house. And you don't have to buy a treadmill. You don't have to buy an elliptical. If you want to, that's awesome. It might be something you want to add later, so when the weather's bad or whatever, you could walk inside on a treadmill, you could walk on an elliptical machine, whatever, but you don't have to. Um, so that's what I would suggest. Again, keep it simple. It kind of goes back to the whole perfection thing. You don't have to have everything in place. And that's a great time to talk about. Don't compare yourself to others. You see a lot of this stuff online, social media, and all this kind of stuff, right? And these people are all the time in beast mode. They're always trying to set personal records, with their weightlifting, their running, whatever. And that's fine for them. And we all have, personal best, right? That we can conquer, and we should do that. But we should be in competition with ourselves, not with other people that we see online that we have no idea what kind of work they've put in to get to the point that they're at, and where they're going, what's their goals, all that kind of stuff. I think it's awesome to find inspiration with people, and I hope you're finding some inspiration in this. But I don't think we should compare ourselves to anybody else, not just in weight loss, but in life, right? Because we don't know their background. We don't know what they've been through, all this kind of stuff. We don't know, especially in the weight loss field, we don't know everybody's medical condition. So you can't, it's not a blanket, easy process to lose weight, right? I'm giving you some general guidelines and some things that have worked for me versus kind of some things I've done in the past that I didn't find success in. So don't compare yourself to others. Do your own thing. Find inspiration when you can. I think that's great. And then, just keep working on yourself. That's the important part. Keep getting better. Um, One thing along with tracking your food, to me, I've been tracking my protein a little bit. I haven't tracked my food, honestly. I probably should have waited on getting this Fitness Pal that I ordered or that I paid for the year, because I haven't been tracking my food or, like exercise like I should, um, because I'm just trying to keep it simple. So in 13 weeks, I lost 33 pounds. I haven't really tracked much food at all. I have been tracking my water. Water intake is really important because our bodies are made up of a lot of water, and all of our systems, our body systems, work. Water makes them function. So we want to make sure that we have plenty of water. There's all kinds of stuff out there about water. Some things say you should be drinking 100 or 50% uh, of your body weight in ounces of water a day. So, example, if you weigh 200, you should be drinking 100 ounces of water a day. Seems like a lot, especially if you're not drinking water. So again, start slow. If you're drinking no water every day, just drink a couple of glasses, right? And keep on with your other, whatever other drinks you have. If you're drinking, 50 ounces a day, maybe you start upping it. So anyway, you don't have to do it all at once. Just start slow and work your way up as you get used to things. It's been hugely important to me. Um, but I do drink a lot of water. I mean, most days I'm 100 ounces or more. But at my weight, I should be technically, according to these so-called experts, I should be drinking more. But I'm drinking a lot of water, and I found out that my tastes have changed because I used to drink a lot of soft drinks. I used to drink a lot of, diet soft drinks, but still they're not good for you, with chemicals and such in them. But, um, you know, I, I found now that after drinking a lot of water, I don't really like the taste of soft drinks that much. Still have one occasionally, and it's almost like a treat now, which is very bizarre to me because I used to drink, multiple of these things every day. But your taste buds will change. And I think with food too, my taste buds have changed. So, and I'm trying to eat less and I'm trying to get more healthier food worked into it as well. So I'm not, concentrating on eating like everything totally clean, all that kind of stuff. I'm just eating, um, you know, less, when I'm eating less of it. So that brings up another good point. Like, eat what you like, right? You see these videos of people are like, the 5 foods you should eat and only eat, and the 3 you shouldn't, and the this and the that. And it's like, it's too overwhelming. It's like, eat the food you like because then you're going to stick with it. Eat just less of them so your calorie count's down and you'll lose weight. Incorporate some better foods in, obviously. Fruits, vegetables, leafy greens are really good for you, all this kind of stuff. But based on your health situation, your medical situation, make sure you're getting in those nutrients. And that's the way I'm kind of looking at it right now. Like, I feel like I'm trying to give my body what it needs in terms of nutrition, but I'm still giving it some, I'm still eating things I like so I don't feel deprived. And that's one thing in the past that really killed me was like I would, start off on a so-called diet. And, I try to eat clean on day one, which was Monday, because you always have to start on a Monday, right? Day one, Monday, eat clean, log everything that I eat, exercise that night, when I got home from work, whatever, blah, 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 right? And then kept that up for 2 or 3 days, and then something went out the window, and it's like, it's not worth it because I fell off the train, which makes no sense. I mean, it's all or nothing, for me in the past, and it's never worked. And I know it's not right, but that's the way I thought. So right now I'm doing, what I can. I'm doing, some days are better than others, right? Um, but the ultimate goal is I'm working towards, where I want to be at a healthy weight. Um, and as far as that food goes, you can find substitutions as well. Like if you like a certain type of food, do a little research. I mean, a simple Google search, even, like, hey, what are some substitutions for, whatever food you like? And then, a lot of times they'll give you some suggestions. A lot of times they're pretty good. So, you can find stuff that you will kind of satisfy you if you have a craving for something, without going like totally overboard and sabotaging, your whole weight loss, experience. Um, I would also say to really help too, and man, I hate to do this with a passion, and this has killed me in the past. If I don't, when I go to work and if I don't have something prepared to take to work, and I mean, I'm not talking about it when I'm trying to lose weight, I'm just in general. Like if I don't have a sandwich, whatever I was going to take to work ready, I usually wouldn't even do it. And then usually am out of the office quite a bit during the day, most days. I would just get something while I was out, a sandwich, fast food sandwich, gas station pizza, whatever. Because I just didn't want to take the time in the morning. It's like half the time I'm struggling to get out of bed to begin with and get ready and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, it's another thing added to the morning that, I didn't want to have to deal with. So, if I prepared my stuff at night, I had a sandwich in the refrigerator, had some other stuff in little baggies, whatever, then it was easy to grab it, throw it in my little cooler and take it to work. No big deal. So prep some stuff. Prepping stuff is huge, right? For me. And I think it could be for you too. So we don't prep a whole lot of stuff, my wife and I, but we'll usually have like some vegetables cut up, and those types of things, which that goes a long way right there. I mean, you can throw some vegetables in something, you got some stuff ready if you want a salad. It's just that little step right there. I know a lot of people, some people will like cook half the day on Sunday, right? Preparing for the week. And, they'll cook up all this chicken or whatever other kind of protein that they want. And then they'll have some for the whole week. Well, I mean, if that's what you need to do and what you want to do, that's awesome. You don't have to do that though. I'd say just, again, start slow. you'll build from there. But, just cut up some veggies if you want, some veggies that you like. Try different things though, because you might find out that you like some stuff I found that out that I didn't think that I liked, or I didn't like at one time, but my taste buds have changed and I do like them now. So things will change over time. Your taste buds will change, and don't be afraid to go try different things. What's the worst can happen? You don't like it and no big deal, right? But you might find out you're missing out on some stuff because, hey, I really like that, which is really cool when that happens. So that's kind of my suggestion there. And kind of along with that, don't think you have to. We started eating at home a ton more, especially this last 13 weeks for me since I've been, trying to lose weight, and really enjoyed actually eating at home more. We would almost eat out. I'd probably say out of 7 nights a week, we'd probably eat out 4 or 5 of them before. So now, that being said, you could still go out to eat when you're losing weight, right? You just have to do a little planning, pull up a menu of a restaurant that you're going to go to, find out what's going to fit within your calories, for the day. And sometimes I've done that where I'll adjust it. Like I won't eat hardly anything for lunch or as much for lunch because I want to have a little something extra at dinner because I know we're going out with ourselves or with friends or whatever. And it's really awesome when you've planned it out like that because you can eat it guilt-free. I mean, there's no guilt to it. It's like, are you on a diet? You're eating chicken Parmesan. Well, I'm not really on a diet. I hate the word diet because diet just means whatever we're eating is our diet, right? You can eat Snicker bars all day. Man, that sounds good. Uh, I had a sugar addiction at one point in my life. But you could eat Snicker bars all day, right? That's your diet. So I don't really like the term diet. I just like, I like the word nutrition. Like, what are we putting in our bodies? And a lot of foods don't have very much nutrition in them, Snicker bars. But you can eat stuff like that just in moderation and if it fits within your calorie budget and also fits within your calorie budget based on exercise. Sometimes you exercise, you'll burn a couple hundred calories, and you know that because of some tracker you have on your phone or your watch or whatever you have. And then you can add that back into the calories you can consume for the day. And it really works out because you're still in a calorie deficit because you used that calculator and figured out how many you needed a day. And then you reduce that down, and so you could burn, so that you could, burn more calories than you're taking in. So you're still going to lose the weight. Now, if you don't consume those extra exercise calories, you're going to lose a little more weight. Chances are. Again, it's not perfect. It's not some days, some weeks you'll do everything great and in your mind, and you'll be like, I thought I would have lost more this week. So, it goes back to kind of expectations and just do the things that you need to do and know you're doing better. The results will show, right? It's kind of like in school, I used to have this teacher that always used to say, um, when test day comes, it's like you should have already prepared. You should have already done all the work. Now it's your chance to show what you've done. That's the way I'm kind of looking at jumping on the scale and checking my weight, right? I'm looking at it like, I've done the work all week. Let's get on here as kind of a confirmation of that, so to speak. But I'm not going to let it get me down anymore if it's not where I think it should be. So anyway, it goes back to realistic expectations, and that brings up the point of weighing in. I weigh in once a week. I know some people weigh in like every day. And I understand the philosophy of that. It's like they want to keep a tight watch on it to kind of want to see what their body's doing day to day. But man, your body weight will fluctuate so much from even within the day. You wake up in the morning first thing and weigh in. It's going to be different at noon. It's going to be different at 3. It's going to be different at night. So I just consistently weigh in. Saturday morning was the day I picked. And I just get up. When I get up, use the bathroom and weigh myself once a week. No matter what it says, it doesn't matter. It's kind of cool to see it go down for sure. But if I'm in this to lose weight and get to a healthy weight, I really shouldn't even weigh myself once a week. It really doesn't matter. I could weigh myself once a month just to kind of as a checkpoint. I could weigh myself 6 months from now, I'm going to know when I get down there, right? Based on a lot of different things. So one of those things is, how your clothes are fitting. And that's huge. I mean, you could be retaining some water and not think you lost any weight this week, but your clothes are fitting a little looser, which is awesome. I mean, I used to wear 3X stuff that was extremely tight on me. And then I got to the point where I was wearing 3X stuff that was extremely loose on me. And just recently, I started wearing some 2X stuff that I had in my closet, t-shirts, and work shirts, like golf polo type of shirts that fit me really good, and at 2X now, which is really cool. I went down from like a 44 pant at my highest at 320. I'm down to I bought my first pair of 38s the other day. Everything's, if you ask my wife, everything's the other day. It's probably about a month ago now. But anyway, I just, everything's the other day because it seems like it to me. But so it's really cool when you're doing things like that. Those are kind of, what they call non-scale victories. Um, your clothes are fitting better. You're going down in sizes. Really cool non-scale victory that I had, which seems very minor, but it was really cool, is I have these big sandbags I throw in the back of my truck during the winter so I can gain some traction with snow and ice and all that. And so I took them out after this. I thought the snow was over for the year, which luckily it has been. And I carried those. I have this little mini barn, so I carried those from my garage to my mini barn. I was carrying them out there, and I noticed that it's so cool when you get this non-scale victory you're not expecting. And I was carrying this sandbag, in my hands, and I've got it up against me. And I noticed it was up against me a lot closer than normal because my stomach wasn't sticking out as much because I'd lost that weight. So what that really meant was I didn't have as much strain on my back. So it was just awesome feeling, just something that small. And all of a sudden, you realize it's a pretty big deal. But we've all had those things, right? I got tired of, somebody's having a cookout and they got these freaking lawn chairs that, you're going to, they're dicey, right? I know that if I sit in that thing, I got to sit down in it. I got to make sure the legs are wide enough. I got to make sure that I'm sitting down, especially those webbed ones. Those are nightmares. Sit down in that thing try to be as gentle as you can. 'Cause, if not, you're going to bust the thing, right? And, you go, my wife and I go buy chairs. We bought these cool chairs to, sit outside in. And I got to look for the ones, I look at the weight limit on them really. And I'm like, 250, that's not going to work. So, all those kinds of things that you just have to think about, when you're overweight. And it sucks. It really sucks. But I'm here to tell you that you can do this. It's not too late. We're never too old, and it's always worth it. Always worth it. I guarantee it. So just start, take it slow, build on your success, take care of yourself, and I'll see you next time.